silence.
Anything wrong with that?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Soto Presley. Here. Navejas.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Albrecht.
Here.
Lambert. Here. Motion shows all commissioners are present. Number 3, organizational meeting.
Commissioners,
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. New Year.
There is a law that states that Redevelopment Commission meets the first working day of every new year, which is why we're here today. And the reason for that is to have the organizational meeting and to hear that noise and to fill the positions for the upcoming year of 2014 for Redevelopment Commission. So at this point, we could start with President, and if somebody would like to nominate somebody, we can begin there.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to have the floor. Then I would like to nominate Jimmy Lambert as our president.
I second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Soto Presley.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Lambert. Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present.
We can move on to Vice President.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to nominate Tony Hopridge for Vice President.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Soto Presley.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Lambert. Yes, motion passes. All commissioners in favor.
Next is Secretary.
Secretary, the chair would like to make a motion. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Navejas as secretary. Could I please get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Soto Presley.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Lambert. Yes, motion passes. All commissioners agree.
And then we have Treasurer,
Treasurer.
which is not on the agenda, by the way, but we are making a nomination for a treasurer as well.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to nominate Miriam Soto for treasurer.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you. Roll call, please. Soto Presley.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Lambert. Yes, motion passes.
Oh.
All commissioners favor, and congratulations on the new officers.
Congratulations.
Okay. That being said, number 4, declaration of conflict of interest. Seeing there is none, we'll move on to communications. None were received. No communications. Number 5, minutes for December 17th, 2013.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for Hammond Redevelopment Commission meeting for December 17th, 2013.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Soto Presley.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Lambert. Yes, motion passes. All commissioners are present. Number 7, pardon me, homebound conditional forgivable loan approval.
Commissioners, can we start with last meeting? We had a conditional approval for the sale of NSP property for 4930 Ash Avenue. And at the time, Michael and Kimberly Williams were not able to attend. And I think there was even, somebody mentioned them coming to a future meeting, and they are here today. So if you'd like, you guys can step forward to the podium. They might have a question for you, or maybe not. It'll be easy, I promise.
Welcome. We would like to thank you for coming and seeing us, and hope you love your new home. Any questions or comments, commissioners?
Same thing. I appreciate you taking the time and effort to come back, especially with the weather out there. So,
Have you closed escrow on it yet, or are you waiting to close?
We're waiting to next week, I believe the 10th.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to Hammond.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up.
It would have been a lot easier weather-wise for them to come to the last meeting.
Yeah.
That's their punishment. I know that we have, of the homebound commission, conditional forgivable loan approvals, the 3 that are listed, due to the weather, I'm not sure everybody was able to make it. I know Diana Barbold is here. Is Robert or Nancy Aldana here? And how about John Wolf? Okay, so Diana, if you want to come up to the podium.
Welcome, Diane.
Commissioners obviously can ask any questions. My suggestion, with the weather the way it is, it's probably difficult for some people to get here, and I always worry about holding up a closing of some sort because somebody wasn't able to come. We can always ask them to come in a future meeting if you so choose.
Thank you for coming.
I can barely hear everybody. I'm tone deaf in my left ear.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you
Thank
for
you
coming.
for having me.
So how did you hear about the program?
I heard about the program through my realtor.
And who was that?
My realtor, you asked me, it's not working today.
We're not going to bite you. You don't have to be nervous.
I'm sorry.
We're not going to
Can
bite
I
you.
get some paperwork that'll help?
No.
No?
You don't remember who your realtor is?
I had to move out of my house within 3
That's okay.
days, and it's been crazy.
May we ask what the realtor company is?
Macaulay,
Macaulay?
yes.
Thank you. Any more questions or discussion, Commissioners?
Nicole,
Just,
Who's
thank you,
Nicole?
Diana. I see that you're currently reside in Whiting, and appreciate you moving over to Hammond.
okay, so as part of my home, I lived in a house where it was, if I walk out the door, it was Hammond. If I
Well, you
walked out
probably
the
had
back door, it was
that
Whiting.
Robertsdale, well, it's usually like a Whiting post office address, but that's still Hammond, though.
Okay. Okay,
So,
so I know I can put it down on the paper like that. So I've been writing Whiting. Is it 46394 as well, or no?
well, if you, according to that address there, it probably is. It comes under the Whiting post office, which is a lot of Robertsdale. So, but it's still a Hammond residence.
Okay,
So, that's all. Thank you.
thank you, that's good to know. Nicole is my realtor's name, since
Who?
it's just, Nicole?
Nicole. It's a bunch of Nicoles.
That's
I'm a
okay.
realtor
The
too, so I always ask that question, you know.
Okay,
first name is good.
He's a resident realtor, so.
okay.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion to approve the homebound conditional forgivable loan approval for Diana, how you pronounce your last name?
Barbold?
Barpo, and for Robert and Nancy Aldana and John Wolf and that the other 2 applicants can come to,
I second that.
I'm sorry, can come to a future meeting.
Thank you. We have a second, Commissioner. Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. All Commissioners present.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
and enjoy
Thank
your
you.
new home.
Congratulations.
you.
Thank you.
Number 8, emergency program approval. Terrell Kamiati,
Kim Yada.
Kamiata, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioners, in your packet, you have for Kimiata Terrell, the information that was listed. As we've talked about in the past, when it's an emergency project, usually the work could be done knowing that an approval is going to be made at some point. And in this situation, obviously there was, you could see what was done according to the paperwork that was given, and it was an emergency situation where it had to be done quickly, so.
Madam President,
Commissioner.
I make a motion for approval for the emergency program for Kim Yada Terrell at 4920 Catawba.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. All Commissioners present. Okay, number 9, determination of compliance for 559 State Street project.
Commissioners, there is some information in your packet on this project. This particular project is a medical facility in the downtown Hammond area. It came on relatively quickly. The information for the project came on relatively quickly. We have a few people here that will speak on the project. Well, we could start with actual people from the project, and then at the end, we can have our city planner come up, Brian Poland, and give us his letter of recommendation, which I believe you have in front of you. So I don't know if we want to start with Tony Paquet.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tony Paquet with Chester Incorporated Architects from Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm here as a representative for Regional Health Center. With me tonight is Bob Crumweed, who is the CEO of Regional Health Center, and Eddie Lapina from First Hammond Baptist Church. And we are here as looking for an approval to move forward with our remodel project. We have a fast-track grant that has been provided to Regional Health Center to remodel an existing vacant building at 559 State Street. We have gone through all of our architectural processes. I've actually even pulled the demolition permit and started demolition. This facility needs to be up and operating by March 1st, no later than that. We are looking at about a 4,500 square foot interior remodel only. There will be about 9 exam rooms. The property is Zone C4 and medical use is permitted. There will be about 3 to 4 doctors and 15 full-time staff hired at this location. The investment will be approximately $800,000, including working capital, equipment, and construction. The total estimated payroll for the first year will be between $700,000 and $800,000. The site is existing. One of the reasons for choosing this site was specifically because of the ability to get in and remodel it in a very short fashion, which basically enticed Regional Health Center to make the move. And so what we're here for tonight is it did fall under redevelopment urban zone, which requires some site discussions in front of the Redevelopment Commission. And I'd like to turn it over to you if you have any questions.
You said March 1st, that's March 1st of this year?
Correct.
Okay.
It's very, very fast-paced, and I'm already behind schedule.
It is very fast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe they found out kind of in the 11th hour that they were in a redevelopment area, and it was brought to them that they have to come in front of the Redevelopment Commission for the determination of a compliance meeting. And of course, when you have a project like this that you're trying to move forward as quickly as possible, every one of these type steps slows it down a little bit, but we did get them on as quickly as we could, obviously onto this first meeting of the year, which we just so happened to be earlier than normal because we have to, due to the state law of having the meeting on the first working day of the year. But does anybody have any questions for Mr. Paquet? If not, we can have our city planner, Brian Poland, come forward.
Welcome, Mr. Poland.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully we can all get home before we are buried in snow.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah. But you know I like to talk. I think part of the important thing about this project is trying to make sure that it is compliant with the redevelopment plan or the urban renewal plan. And a lot of it is, of course, the challenging timing, finding out about this right before Christmas. And really, today was my first opportunity to really look at the project. And trying to get a full understanding of the project, I think there's some things that need to be clarified for us. I appreciate the presentation that was given, but I got some slightly different numbers that came from Mr. Crumweed, and not that is of any reason to hold up the project. Is more of just so we have a clarification of how much investment is going to go in downtown, how many staff members are going to be there. That's just generally important information to know what type of investment is going into our downtown, but the staff numbers are very important for understanding how that affects the parking ratios for calculations for zoning purposes. But the redevelopment plan talks about how this area should have been developed as for institutional and residential uses. At the time the plan was written, it was recognized that there were, the area covers where the Baptist Church is, it covers where the All Saints Catholic Church is. This covers where the library is, so there was a lot of institutional uses. This area also covers some of the blocks that are east of Seoul, which were a lot of residential uses, so it's institutional/residential. Historically, this was a commercial strip, so the redevelopment plan also recognized that not just institutional uses, but on limited basis, there could be commercial uses or office uses. And that becomes very important in how we determine whether or not this use becomes compliant with the plan. So, medical facilities, as was stated before, are allowed in the zoning district, so that's a very important thing to look at. Whether you consider a medical facility an institutional use or not, whether you consider it to be an office or not, I think in some aspects it could be either or both, so I don't really have any issues with that. I think one of the most important things for us to look at is always the details. That helps us determine the other aspects of compliance with the plan. There are general guidelines in the plan that talks about how the area should be developed with pedestrian orientation, scale and appropriateness of the design for the building improvements. Also looking at adequately screening the parking areas. These are other aspects that we need to look at. And based on the information, I don't really have enough at this time to make a determination on that component. So I've broken my recommendation into two aspects of it. And so, and I'll just go ahead and review that section on my report that says recommendation. Overall, the proposed medical facility does comport with the plan's intention of having this area developed with institutional uses. Due to the timing of the submission and the holidays, not all the required information has been provided to staff. Without appropriate information about the parking lot, landscaping, exterior work on the building, staff is unable to make a recommendation regarding compliance with the development standards, which is section E of the plan, and the urban design standards, which is section F of the plan. But in order to keep this project moving forward, staff recommends that the Redevelopment Commission make a determination that the proposed use is generally in compliance with the plan, and then delegate to myself to make the final determination that the proposed project is in compliance with sections E and F of the plan prior to the issuance of permits. This is subject to the review of the exterior design elevations and signage, the parking lot layout for compliance with zoning and engineering requirements, which is also the number of parking spaces, and there may be an issue with a BZA variance, the applicable ADA requirements, landscaping for compliance with zoning and the redevelopment plan, and the exterior lighting.
That was one of my questions, is that they had adequate parking at this facility.
Well, based on the information I have, and this all goes back to how the number of employees that are there, and that's where I said initially the numbers are a little different. Medical facilities requires parking based on the number of exam rooms as well as the number of employees. So the number of exam rooms were identified as being 9. You need 3 spaces per each exam room, so right there, that's 27 spaces. The number of employees, it was ranging between 13 and 18, depending upon which source of information I had. So right there, that's a minimum of 40 spaces. What we were provided was an aerial of the current site and the current parking layout, which is about 20 spaces. So right there, you're 50% short. And with the layout of that parking, there's no place for the landscaping, or the landscape is not shown. Whether or not the spaces are sized appropriately, all those factors go together to determine actually how many parking spaces go on the site. In an email that I just completed about 3:46 this afternoon, I did open up the possibility that if they cannot provide parking on this specific site, if they can provide the remaining parking on an adjacent parking lot, and then there is one to the north, which I believe is owned by the Baptist Church, if they can provide a lease arrangement or some type of thing that we know that there could be the additional parking opportunities are there, then that would make it easier. It is something that's allowed under the zoning ordinance to do that, to have an adjacent off-site parking lot available to it, which would eliminate the requirement to go to the BZA for a variance. So if that's a possibility, then the parking becomes a moot issue.
Question. Yeah, so this facility is not an emergency medical facility in any way. It's just a healthcare center.
Yeah, as the answer was behind me, it was correct. Yes, it's trying to. I think you were providing. Actually, you can address that better. Whoever. It's best for the microphone and the camera.
It's what the federal government refers to as a federally qualified health clinic. So it's a public health clinic aimed at providing health services in areas that are underserved from a health manpower standpoint, which is the zip code that we're putting it in. And we will also provide services on a sliding fee schedule, and it's exclusively primary health. So it's going to be the same as your general practitioner.
Any more questions, Commissioners?
Yeah, I had well, you kind of answered it. It's for Brian. Looking at the site plan, yeah, that adjacent parking, I would think that would be an option.
Yeah, I think it's a very important option for them to consider, and hopefully that property owner is amenable to work out an agreement. I don't know, we didn't really discuss the hours of operation of the facility, whether that would conflict with any of the normal uses of that parking lot.
Now, would they also, I guess, you'd be able to park on the street kind of in front, there's parking, right?
You can do that, but that's not, our zoning ordinance doesn't allow us to count that.
That's why I said they probably wouldn't count that.
Right. But yeah, I mean, from a practical matter, that would be available, yes, for people to use.
And the churches, the hours should not clash with, the business. I don't think that would be.
No, ma'am. Eddie Levina from First Baptist. Worked with Bob already on the hours. It doesn't conflict with our church schedule. And we've already discussed with him total access to church parking anywhere on our properties, especially on the north side of the lot, is a little over a half acre, almost a full acre or more of parking that would be accessible.
Thank you.
One more question. Yeah, the staffing was supposed to be 13. I just wondered, did we decide the number of doctors and nurses at that facility? Just because
There'll be 3 physicians there.
Okay.
And 3 RNs. Okay, there'll also be what we call community outreach worker, which doesn't really work in the building. They work with a primary service area to try to make folks aware of the services we provide. And we also have what we call a care manager. It's folks that go out and work with folks with chronic illness conditions like diabetes, hypertension, to work on lifestyle changes to make them not need our services any longer. Mm-hmm. So and that's where some of the changes in the numbers probably came in, because a couple of those folks are basically itinerant workers, are in and out all the time. Mm-hmm. The rest are backroom clerical folks.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just for your information, when he mentioned that there are some employees in and out, those are things that we need to understand better, because when we determine parking requirements for employees, it's the maximum number that will be on the site at any point in time. So that's why we just need to clarify that and make sure we know exactly what the number is.
Any more questions, Commissioners?
Commissioners, if I can. Obviously, the project is, very simply, it's a medical office in the downtown area that's going to serve people that potentially are low to moderate income people, maybe even worse. So it's a good project. It's exciting that it's coming. I think it's going to be beneficial to a lot of people in the area that are going to use it. The reason for, a lot of with the motion and of determination of compliance with a lot of the subject twos here, is just because of the speed of trying to get the project processed and through the Redevelopment Commission and able to move forward. So we do need some more information, but it is an exciting project. We're excited about it, and it's nice that the First Baptist Church is working together with Regional Mental Health to put this thing together. We do have other FQHCs in the city, and I know they've been successful, and people really appreciate them, so I just wanted to add that.
Any discussion, Commissioner?
No, just if Brian Poland could use the right verbiage on the recommendation, and
Well, if you want to use the last paragraph of my report,
Would you like to read that, Brian?
I did before, but I can read it
Okay.
again.
Okay, you got it before.
But I think if I may speak, normally when Dave Wesson is here, he does ask that to be read as a part of your motion, or maybe Nicole has said that, I'm not sure which, but if, however you want to handle that, but we need to make sure all of it's in the proper record, or properly in the record.
Okay, you want to? Well, it's up to you.
Well, I don't know if it's proper for me to suggest a motion from a parliamentary standpoint.
Well, I think, okay, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're saying the motion could be, and then you're reading the verbiage, and then at that point, if somebody chooses to move on the motion, then that would be up to them.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and read this last paragraph. Okay. In order to keep the project moving forward, staff recommends that the Redevelopment Commission make a determination that the proposed use is generally in compliance with the plan and delegate to the Director of City Planning to make the final determination that the proposed project is in compliance with sections E and F of the plan prior to the issuance of permits, subject to the review of 1, exterior design elevations and signage, 2, parking lot layout for compliance with zoning and engineering requirements, number of parking spaces, and potential BZA variance, 3, applicable ADA requirements, 4, landscaping for compliance with zoning and the redevelopment plan, and 5, exterior lighting.
I'd like to so move on that.
Thank you. And second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes, all Commissioners present. Good luck with your tight schedule.
Thank you, Brian.
One moment, does that mean that I'm able to proceed with pulling permits as soon as possible? Or does that mean that I have to go through a design site review process with the director?
Yeah, you'll need to answer the questions that still are out there with Brian Poland. Basically, the motion means you're done with the Redevelopment Commission. They've approved it based on you working with Brian Poland and getting the rest of the information that he needs.
Okay, so you understand that those engineering requirements take time, significant time. I would prefer to see the ability that we reach a contingency that I will actually meet those approvals. None of that work can actually be done in the wintertime anyway. I couldn't actually work on the exterior of the building until spring breaks, no matter what. Therefore, I would like to proceed with the ability to do the interior remodel contingent that I meet all of his approvals at a later date.
What I would think would be appropriate, Tony, would be that maybe you and I and your team and Brian sit down even as soon as tomorrow or Monday and have that discussion. The Redevelopment Commission can't make that type of determination. Right.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Reports. Mr. Talon.
In honor of Snowmageddon 2014, I will hold off on any report until the next meeting. But I will, if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions, Commissioners? Any discussion? Thank you, Bill. Ms. Miller, welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year to you.
I just have a few things that I want to bring to your attention. First is January the 20th is the MLK celebration. Lineup is at 6:45 a.m. and we're going to proceed to the Hammond Civic Center for that program. Attorney Joanne Price will be the speaker for the morning. January the 29th will be our point-in-time homeless count.
Pardon me, please repeat that?
January the 29th is our point-in-time homeless count. We're going to be leaving from our department at 5 a.m. going throughout the city, seeing if we could help as well as count the homeless individuals within our city. Lastly, we are in the final stages of our action plan, our 2014-2015 action plan. Next week will be start our 30-day comment period, and we'll hold a public hearing on February the 4th. And that's all that I have.
Any questions of Ms. Miller, Commissioners? Thank you. Okay, let's pay some bills.
Madam President.
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the Register of Claims for December 11th, 2013 through December 23rd, 2013. Register of Claims R49785 through R49833.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. All commissioners present. Number 12, new and unfinished business. And there is none. Public comment. 3 minutes, please. Okay. Number 14.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I second that.